All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Coming back on a Monday night. We are dead on time tonight. Excited about that. Ryan, what's up, buddy?
Ooh, man, hard to believe. Look at us go.
All right. Yeah. Are you on the road or at home?
On the road. I got to be in Montgomery, Alabama, bright and early tomorrow.
All right. So we're going to do a little something different tonight. Ryan and I are going to hit on a few issues from the group page before we bring our special guest in. We've got Scott from Hog Farmer Bait Company with us. He'll be in just a minute. And as you see at the bottom there, we're doing a giveaway tonight. I don't think we've ever done a giveaway on this thing, have we, Ryan?
Only advice. That's all we've given away.
Only good advice and opinions, unsolicited opinions.
Unsolicited, yes.
Yeah. So as you see down there at the bottom, there's a $100 Hog Farmer gift bag that they've been willing to give away for us here. All you got to do, share the stream, like the Hog Farmer Facebook page, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the show. So there you go. That's gonna be fun. We'll see. First time y'all ever been on time. That's right. We ought to get an award for that. Y'all give us.
Thinks he's funny. We've been on time at least two other occasions in the last couple of years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think we've been early once. Maybe, I don't know. That was pre-COVID. We were early pre-COVID.
Yeah, that's going to be our scapegoat too. Everybody else is using it, so COVID.
Yeah, so yeah, it hadn't been a whole lot happen on the Facebook page, and then the last few days, a few things happened just in general in the kayak fishing world that we need to talk about, don't we?
I agree. Yeah. So AJ, today, as things are kind of progressing and tournament season's getting ready to kick off in a couple months, now's the time when all these tournament series get their year-end events wrapped up and then start preparing for next year. So, Hobie BOS series, being the leader that they are, post polls to basically get, advice from the anglers that go fish these tournaments onto what they would like to see changed and kind of their opinions on things. And boy, that got fired up pretty quick there, I think.
Yeah, it did. And there were quite a few that came out just today. Which one did kind of stuck out to you? There's one that I would like to see change personally. The others,
I honestly both. Like, I see from a lot of people's perspective, the boundaries and the launches might not be that big of a deal. Like, these lakes behind me, like, I don't care, if what launches they have open or what, because the water. But people coming in from outside, I guess there's been some scenarios where people feel like they might be at a disadvantage, or, a local angler knew of one little ditch or whatever that you could get into, and that's the only person that could launch there, get accessibility, space-wise, whatever. I think there's been some things like that come into play. And then, what is a public launch has came into play on a few different tournaments. That puts a lot of extra stress on the tournament directors. You can't police everything. And when you're trying to run a tournament and run it well, I think having 50 phone calls about some things that might not even be that big of a deal, that can't possibly help things go more smoothly. So, I think that's definitely an issue worth touching on. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, as kayak anglers, that's kind of one of our deals, is we can get and launch where other people can't. But it does start getting into some gray area when you're talking about locals or people that know about certain spots that others may not. I don't know. Maybe that's the way that we can advantage on it. I can get an advantage on each other. But my thing that we've talked about it on this show a few times is the pre-fishing limits. That's the one that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Or the pre-fishing time frame. I don't know where they're going to go with that, but I've always been kind of a 3 or 4 day official practice period person, because there is a handful of folks that can go a week, 2 weeks ahead of time and sit on a lake. I'm not even worried about the locals.
I knew that's the one you wanted to touch on. That's why I took the one about ramps. I could care less about ramps. I don't care where you launch, but
but I think time on the water is something that you can equalize for everybody. That doesn't mean they're equal talent or equal intellect, but you can equalize that time at least.
So as this continues to grow and the thing gets bigger and the pot gets bigger, and we start to see the transition of some people starting to be able to do it full time. And it's great that we have people that maybe retired or their spouse supports them chasing the dream or whatever. But for the majority of anglers, most of us work some sort of regular job, and while we can take off for a couple big tournaments a year, I don't know of anybody that their job is like, you know what, take off 12 weeks a year and go see what you can do with this kayak fishing thing. I mean, that doesn't happen often. So I think now we're at the point to where there's got to be some kind of balance there. And you see the pros do it now. They have huge off limits periods on the water where they can't be on the water and they can't talk to anybody about, anything at all, coming from that lake, be it, patterns, weather conditions, anything. They have to call and report it immediately. That's part of their deal, and being able to pass a polygraph test in the big event. So I think it's a good plan. I really do. Steve-O and I talked about it earlier. He 3 and 3 would be a great rule. 3 weeks out, 3 days before. It's simple. It's easy to remember. I guess 2 and 2 would work the same way. But you also have to take into account what you're bringing to these municipalities. So the anglers coming in town and booking hotel rooms or campsites or whatever, impacting that local economy. You still want to keep, 4 or 5 days would be optimal just for you to be able to leverage as a tournament to pull in that extra money from the municipalities.
Yeah. And even if you had an official pre-practice where you would entice people to come down for a weekend, 2 weeks before the tournament, and then come back,
Yeah.
I don't know. Something needs to be done, because now, do I think it would change the outcome? I think the same people will probably still win. Probably, but it from a competition standpoint, it levels the playing field. You know what I mean?
I think, especially the way conditions change and things, like if you got somebody that can go sit on this lake for 2 or 3 weeks out, they're going to see a lot more variables, and it's going to be a lot easier to adjust. And people say, local knowledge. That's true. Local knowledge is a huge factor. It always is. But as we've seen in a lot of these tournaments, it's very rare that the person that actually, lives on the lake is the one who wins that tournament. Now, I'm not saying they don't finish in the top 10 or even top 5, but a lot of times it's somebody coming from outside, a fresh set of eyes, breaking things down, brand new, that tends to do better.
Yeah. And, kudos to Hobie and AJ for even asking people what their opinion was on that, because I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it's nice that they actually listen to the anglers. They did that when they built the series, and they're still doing it. So shout out to them.
And it's shown. Like you see the support and you see the response across the industry when you care about the customers themselves. And I'm not talking about ask questions that you don't want to hear the answer to, but ask questions and really take the answers into account. That's what's really driving the growth and the success that they're seeing right now.
Yeah. And one more thing before we get Scott in here, the biggest news of the day to me was I saw an announcement on the Bass Nation page. Steve Owens, our guy, Steve Owens, stepping away from being the tournament director for the Bass Nation Kayak Series. That is huge. I didn't even know what to make of that.
Me either. Like I said, I was talking to Steve earlier today, and he kind of said something, and I didn't know if I heard it or if I didn't hear it. And then I saw that post, and I was like, that is exactly what he said. And I just completely, grazed right over it. I wasn't even paying attention. Steve's done so much, and I know they've been out for a year. I know they have, but Steve kind of put the team on his back there and really carried the brunt of making that series a success. Hats off to you, Steve-O. You did great with it. And I hope they can find something to, fill that void. I think the Bass Series has a lot of potential. Obviously, it was year one. There's some growing pains. Hopefully they, again, listen to the feedback of the anglers. But we still don't even have a tournament schedule out for next year. And that's kind of a pain point for people like me. Like, I want to plan and know, how many weeks I'm going to need to be where and kind of get my schedule right, so I know how many days I'm going to get in trouble for not being at work. So,
yeah. And I mean, for a lot of us, that we're making some choices based on like you said, schedule availability. That classic deal is going to cost a lot of us a week if it goes on to go. So we want all the details as early as possible to make choices for ourselves. It's a lot of money to travel and do these tournaments.
Clifton Allen said everybody can stay at his house for Louisville,
Okay.
so we're good.
I'm down. So yeah, Steve did a lot. That was a shocking development. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's from Bass is watching this, but get out the checkbook, Bass. Keep Steve somehow.
Yeah, that's the whole squad right there.
Yeah. Any comments on any of that stuff? I threw a few on the actual screen there. Steve said he agreed the outcome might not change, but it does level the playing field. That's kind of what we said. So, and everybody said hats off to Steve Owens. Of course, we love Steve. But with all that said, what do you say we bring Scott in here, man? Talk about
Let's do it. Come on.
A little hog farmer. All right. Let's see if I can make this happen without hanging up on everybody. What do you think? It's a crapshoot.
Dun, dun.
All right, yes. Scott, what is up?
How you doing?
All right, man. Everybody, welcome Scott Schauwecker. Did I say it right?
Perfect.
All right, from Hog Farmer Bait Company. Thanks for coming in here, man. We appreciate you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for being willing to give away some stuff. My goodness.
Yeah, we appreciate that for sure.
So what's happening?
How long have you been in the bait making business, Scott?
I think going on like 7 or 8 years now. It's been a while. Longer than I realize sometimes.
And tell everybody where you're located in case they don't know.
We're in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, right outside of Chattanooga, right nestled on the edge of Lake Chickamauga.
Because if you ain't from Saudi, you ain't nobody. Everybody is aware of that. Steve-O met Scott and kind of brought him into the fold in our local kayak club, TBKA. And Scott's been great, supporting us, helping us out with product. He, helping us out with state dues and whatnot. I mean, been a great asset to the local kayak community. So only felt right bringing him on for A-rig season because I know a couple of our familiar faces have been smashing fish on A-rigs the last few days.
Holy cow. AJ and Jay. Shout out to AJ and Jay. They were just killing them.
They went to Kentucky and put a pounding on rig fish, man. They've been really getting after them.
Kayak guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's all we do.
That's all we
Yeah.
do.
No, hey, Scott, tell us a little history about Hog Farmer, man. Tell us a little bit about the company.
History. Okay. Well, I guess we kind of became known back in probably 2014, 15 when Raji Brown started hitting all the bigger sacks on the A-rigs here on Chickamauga. I think there was a 37-pound sack, and then it went up to like a 40 plus, and then almost a 50. And had social media been what it was today back then, I can't even imagine what would have happened with all that. It was we couldn't have handled it, that's for sure. We couldn't handle it then.
So is it your A-rig's fault so many people are on Chickamauga right now?
I mean, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Kind
like
of.
it, man. So you got I throw the BFL rig. That's fishing Tennessee wise, that's my go-to. So I just leave that one tied on. So what's if you had to pick one of your setups, what do you like? The big one? You like the little BFL rig? What's your favorite?
I think the BFL our newer BFL Flex rig, which is going to have a little bit more pulse when a little more flex when you pulse it. I think that's a really great startup rig, but the Harvester for the last 3 years has put more fish and bigger fish in the boat than anything we make. It's been really, really impressive to see everything it's done.
The Harvester,
so you guys
that
have never thrown them, take notes of these names so you know what you're looking for when you get on that Hog Farmer site later.
I had it pulled up before we came on. That Harvester is an absolute monster.
It is not. It is not a monster. It looks like a monster.
It looks like a monster.
But it casts like a dream. It is not very big. It's not very much heavier than anything else. It's double layered. It puts off a little bit bigger profile. But honestly, it's It's nothing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So for guys that are just looking into throwing rigs, what do you suggest? You know, what action rod are you recommending? You know, what do you like to see people slinging yours on?
Well, you can literally pull it off with a flipping stick. It doesn't have to be a super special, technique specific rod. However, it's a lot nicer at the end of the day if you have one. But these rigs are not heavy, especially if you're fishing them with 3.5-inch swim baits and 1/8 ounce swim baits heads, which the majority of people do. The biggest sacks that I can think of all came on that exact setup. And like I said, it's nicer to have a technique specific rod, but you don't have to have that. I mean, you're literally throwing 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces at the most, unless you're wanting to fish deep. There are guys that catch fish in 40 foot of water with these things too, but the way they're fished on the Tennessee River and typically anywhere in the South, most people are catching their fish in, suspended fish in 7 to 12 foot of water, over 30 maybe. However, the fish are, suspended in the middle of the water column.
Yeah.
If you guys have your
much
questions,
experience
keep
with a rig,
firing them away.
Jeff?
Sorry, Ryan.
What's that? You throw one much, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I throw it fairly often. I live up here on the White River Lakes, and it's clear water for the most part. So it's easy to throw that around here. There's not a lot of muddy water that's going to obstruct throwing big swim baits or A-rigs or anything like that. I don't throw it as much as I should probably, just because I got bad shoulders and elbows anyway. So I'll throw it for a little while and put it down. But it did come in clutch for me a few times over the years at that Kentucky Lake National Championship, first time they had it.
Really?
Cold to fish late on a rig. Otherwise, I wouldn't cash a check, so I had the pleasure of sitting there till 3 a.m. because of the A-rig to get my check.
Because of the A-rig.
Because of the A-rig. Thanks, A-rig.
I had a custom A-rig rod built last year. It's like 7.6, but it's got a really long handle on it. But I mean, it just the leverage it gives you. I mean, you literally flip your wrist and that rig goes freaking 50, 60 yards easily. If I were a man looking to really get into to slinging one all winter, I would highly recommend, looking into a technique specific rod on that.
Yeah,
I used to throw them on like a heavy action rod.
Yeah, I'm one of the guys, like Scott said, I'm throwing just a 7'6" flipping stick and just making do with it when I throw it. So
yeah, I got you.
I'm just trying not to discourage people. I mean, the majority of people eventually get a technique specific rod, but you can pull it off and totally learn the technique with a decent flipping stick, honestly.
And what do you recommend? Steady retrieve? You mentioned pulsing it. You fish yours fast, slow rolling on the bottom.
So just talking to everybody for the last couple of years right now, just picking everybody's brain that calls me and wants custom rigs and stuff. The pulse is the big deal right now. I don't get out and fish it enough to be able to tell you, but there's a reason why we made the flex rig. And I've had customers call me and specifically tell me they catch more fish on the flex rig, and they're willing to sacrifice durability for more fish catching.
So explain that thing. I just threw it up on the screen for people to see. Explain what's going on with the arms there.
Well, we make them out of 35 thousandth wire versus 43 thousandth. So there's going to be a lot more flex. The middle wire is still out of 35, but it's straight, so you don't really have to worry about it breaking or bending. And 60% of the fish are coming on that middle wire too. So, but however, the outside wires, the bottom two, will catch fish because there's a hook there. And I just like to tell people it's going to break quicker than a regular BFL rig. That's all there is to it.
Kind of along the same lines of the spinner baits with the high vibration. You get that high vibration, but you trade the breakable wire. Huh?
Yeah. And then another thing you got to think about is, boat flipping fish. It's really hard on the rigs. It's hard on the spinner baits. Boat flipping is as bad on a rig as anything.
But I love to do it. I love
Oh,
boat
absolutely.
fish on the rig.
It looks so cool.
I like
Yeah,
boat
it
flipping
does.
fish on it.
Uh,
How do you boat flip a fish in a kayak?
Same way.
It's easier. You're
Just
closer to the
plop it.
water.
Plop
Closer
it
to the
right
water.
in the middle. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Just sling it up there, man.
Just eat the hooks and all. Just sling it right in there.
I can dig it.
Yeah. We got Katie dropping the links in the comments. We appreciate you, Katie. Let's see. Any questions from anybody? We got the what rod suggestion. Ryan already kind of went over that, and so did Scott. I clicked around on your website a little bit. You're known for the A rigs, but you guys got a lot of other stuff on there as well.
Yeah, we're starting to have a lot of stuff. It's starting to become overwhelming, actually.
Yeah. Did it start out just specializing in just the A rigs, and it's kind of branched out from there?
A rigs, and let me see. 3 weeks before Jacob Wheeler won with the hair jig on Chickamauga on the Ledge Fest or whatever they did years ago, I had hired somebody that was into production fly tying at one time, and 3 weeks later, hair jigs are the deal. So we were literally by the Thursday of the week after the tournament was won on a hair jig, we were already filling orders to shops. So we hair jigs became a really big thing for us for a couple of years. We got lucky and Buddy Gross won a major on, I think, Pickwick with our hair jig. That was an amazing summer. I think I had 9 or 10 people tying for us that summer. It was crazy.
Corey Racer says you guys make the best scrounger heads.
We make a nice. We have a good scrounger head.
I like the scrounger and the spunk shad. The spunk shad's a really good bait to throw on it.
I just used that spunk shad in Mexico for 6 days straight and had a ball with it. It is a really fun bait to catch fish on.
Where'd you go in Mexico?
Lake Baccarat.
I hear that's nice.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
This year was more numbers this year. I caught 470 plus fish in 6 days. Probably lost 150 and quick released by the boat just so we didn't have to release them. Probably 200 plus. Over 200 of those fish came on a ledge hog. If you know that, yes. They had never seen anything like it. I could pull into an area and the first day I pulled in and caught 40 fish in a row, 40 consecutive casts. It was stupid.
What?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I got to look into that.
That explains Garrett Campbell's comment a little bit ago. He said Scott was too busy catching those Baccarat fish to worry about Tennessee River stuff. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Now you know he's catching bass like Matt Scotch is catching crappie down there in Texas.
That's right. So I was worried for Scotch the other day. I thought he was the guy arrested that I saw on the Fish and Wildlife page. But
our buddy went out and he said they smacked like 600 crappie the other day. And then we saw an article about Texas Parks and Recreation busting somebody for having like 400 crappie fillets.
That happened to a guy around here. He got he got back in Saudi Creek. There's a little hot water. There's a water plant where they release hot water, and he went back there and caught fish for days. And eventually TWRA kicked his door in, and he had a whole freezer full of them, hundreds of them.
So, we're talking about all this hog farmer stuff. Scott has been gracious enough to do a hog farmer $100 hog farmer gift bag giveaway at the end of this thing. So you just have to be watching this and have shared the stream, and of course be following and like the hog farmer page. We've had quite a few shares already, so appreciate y'all. But make sure you're watching at the end, so when we announce your name, you can say something in the comments, or we'll go on to the next person.
And if you get on site, make sure you get some Hog Farmer swag. I had on a Hog Farmer T-shirt a couple years ago in Nashville at Loser's Bar, and this guy taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "What do you know about Hog Farmer?" And I didn't recognize who it was at the time. He was wearing a suit. And I said, I was like, they help out our local kayak club. I'm from Chattanooga. And he's like, I know Hog Farm, blah, blah, blah. And I asked who it was. It was Jason Lambert. And we sat there and hung out for the rest of the night. Ended up, exchanging numbers. I got him his life in a couple of kayaks, and we've been buddies ever since. thanks to the T-shirt that I won in our Hog Farmer Big Bait Pack at TBKA.
Awesome.
Small world.
Yeah, when you're walking in the streets, you got to wear the colors, man. If you know you're a fisherman, you never know what conversation that'll spawn.
Oh yeah.
We're getting some comments on Ryan's song coming out from last week.
Buddy, I can't wait till Addison finishes that thing up and cuts it.
Yeah, Casey Starnes.
I'm gonna support that one.
Yeah, he may get a few downloads on Spotify. Make some money on that.
So what have you got coming up for you, Scott? What's next on the agenda? What are you going to conquer after this?
We're working on some tungsten stuff right now. We're gonna go super micro, like almost like ice fishing size.
Really?
Yeah. I want something that can be tied on to 8 or 12 pound test that's heavy enough with the soft plastic on it that you could either catch a crappie on it or a bluegill or a bass. I want this multi-species stuff. I've went real big for years and years, and I see everything going micro now, and I want to definitely jump on that.
So you talking about swim bait heads or jigs, or what are you talking about?
I'm talking about miniature swim bait heads or jigs. Yes.
Okay.
Like literally with smaller than a 1/0 hook.
Wow. You getting little.
Finesse.
You getting real little.
We're working on a tungsten silver buddy right now.
Ooh.
That'd be nice. Ooh.
I need that for next weekend. I think we're gonna go up. I'll be taking a rig with me for sure. We're gonna go up to El Hollow this weekend, Saturday, for a tournament up there. Hopefully, I'll catch some big brown fish. Well, I'll probably end up catching a bunch of largemouth, to be honest with you. But I'd like to get into some big brown fish while I'm up there.
Is that Jackson's birthday celebration / Bass Nation weekend?
Yeah, we got a cabin booked up there. It's Jackson's 18th birthday. If anybody's coming up to fish the tournament, holler at us. We're gonna have a little shindig afterwards. Social distancing will be strictly enforced. Don't even try it.
We know that you'll be safe. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. So Scott, with the COVID this year, everyone I've talked to, and I'm sure you felt this as well over there in this industry, it's been the busiest year you've ever had. Have you felt that there where you're at as well?
It has. It's been amazing. It's been hard keeping up with everything with like, our lead supplier right now is literally 16 weeks out for unpainted stuff. So if you forget to order something or run out of a size and didn't realize that you didn't have another box of it, you're looking at 3 months out or more. So that's and even China right now is 3 or 4 months out because everybody in the United States has over ordered, panicking to their U.S. suppliers and China suppliers. So now it's just you just got to wait till your place in line catches up.
The sporting goods shop down the road here, I was in there talking to the owner the other day. He said that just the little cheap buckets of lead, whether it's slip weights or pinch on, whatever it is, he'll put the whole bucket out, the little 10 cents a piece, and somebody will walk in and buy the whole bucket.
Wow.
Kind of like buying ammo right now. Once it goes out, they buy it all off the shelves.
I haven't paid attention to that. And I've not been to Academy for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but 4 weeks ago, the shelves were empty. I'm assuming they still are. I don't know when that's going to be fixed.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while. So what did you do? What did you do to get into bait making? Like how did your path kind of take that turn to where you not only started doing it, but then started doing it, full time and opened a successful business?
Well, when I was working for my parents, I started making them, and we did foundation repair, and the economy wasn't the best at the time, so I was able to get off work a lot. So that gave me the freedom and the time to kind of develop the bait that I had developed. But soon after I started making it, people told me that I made the best one that they could find around here. And nobody's ever told me I did anything the best that they could find in my life. So I literally doubled down on it, made a few more steps and, acquired a plastic machine so I could, inject plastic and stuff like that. And that kind of set me apart from, most of the other garage builders at the time. And I've always been an entrepreneur. So my parents were ready to retire or let me take over what they were doing. And I didn't like working outside when it was 29 degrees and under houses and stuff like that. And working in the fishing industry for less money actually sounded like a good idea. So I started doing this.
I think it's done pretty well then.
Yes. I truly feel like this is what, God's path for me is. I mean, there's been so many times when so many amazing things have happened during, my adventure with this business that has just made me want to continue to do it and not stop. So, I mean, failure is not an option at this point.
I don't think you have to worry about that, man. You make a good product and really give back to the community. And I think that's kind of, when you keep that connection with your customers, that's what drives a successful business.
Absolutely. See, I was a customer myself. I mean, starting this, I throw swim baits and every kind of fishing lure there was. I used to use Picasso lures and everything out there, so I'm a consumer myself, so that's kind of what makes it easy, especially when you get to go out and go fishing more and not stay cooped up. It really helps with, the ability to design and have new ideas and just, kind of move and innovate with the industry.
I like those underwater videos you post, like that, the Upton's worm and stuff like that. Gosh, those are Katie needs to drop a link to that. If y'all are looking for like, especially ledge fishing, I love them on a ledge. These giant worms, kind of hard to ignore if you see that bouncing through the water. I feel like
that video has probably sold thousands of packs of worms for me and Josh.
I'm sure those are pretty sweet. I can't argue with those. What's your opinion on the lake, on Chickamauga itself? Being right there, being in the middle of it. You hear all the stories of guys coming in. How do you think the lake's doing? Do you think that we've seen its peak? Do you think just a slow year or two? Like, what's your opinion on what's going on?
I know it's getting harder and harder for the people who are the best on this lake to catch fish, but they're also still catching big fish.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a kid that works for me. During the time I was in Mexico, caught a 9 and a 10, and when I'm flying home on the way home, he sends me a photo and says, "I think I got you beat for the big fish for the week." And he stayed at home to do that.
Well, Kevin Drake, I'm sure.
He works for me.
Oh, is that who you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Kevin stays on. I don't know what kind of mojo he's got or what kind of goats he sacrifices at home or whatever, but he stays on big fish. He had, he's had multiple 40-pound bags off Chick. Like, he's just a freaking stud. So when you see people like that still catching fish, that's what makes me question, is it the lake that's going down, or is it the fish are just getting harder to catch? Like, I don't think the fish are way harder. Yeah.
Yep. The lake is still healthy, and there's definitely big sacks being caught, but every day there's more and more traffic.
Yeah.
Even on Thanksgiving Day, there was more traffic than some people thought there would ever be. So, all day.
Do you think Watts Bar is going to be the new hot spot? That's what I keep hearing.
I have been hearing some really good stuff about Watts Bar. I've heard about 25-pound plus sacks on frogs in the summertime. The ledges have always been good there. I think it's coming, especially if the vegetation continues there.
Yeah, we're going to give it a shot. I think we've got a February kayak tournament. The Hobie BOS series is going to be stopping up there for a early season tourney. So that has potential to, number one, put out some big bags, but number two, put out some big bags on A-rigs if the weather cooperates with us.
However, every tournament that I've ever heard of that's went there, it's always tough, and everybody always has a hard time.
Well, that's every tournament we've ever had. It seems like
Never heard of a tournament.
something.
I've never heard of anybody going there and just whacking them. Just so rare that you ever hear that.
It's tournament day. It never works out like that. Remember the big flood that happened on Chickamauga last year? It was like freaking 10 feet overnight. We were fishing. We were in the middle of the tournament when that happened, like in kayaks out there. It was awful. That's tournament day.
Yep.
So did you guys see the comment from Ryan Murphy? Said they see the same baits way too much. Has that kind of led you into developing these smaller tungsten deals you were talking about, Scott?
Yeah. And I'm trying to really appease to the bigger crowd. I mean, you put stuff with a 7/0 hook in it, and you're targeting 20% of the country at best. I run stuff with a 1/0 hook in it, and people from Minnesota can use it. People from Wisconsin and Tennessee can use it. I'm really trying to appease to my audience better.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see the finesse offerings. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I am too.
We had another specific question for you, man, about the 3.6 mini rig. I'll try to throw it up on the screen here. They asked about the weight of this thing.
I can probably tell you real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
He's in the right place for answering these questions, Jeff.
Ryan, I'm getting the hang of the screen sharing, man. I'm toggling stuff back and forth.
I don't want to say this, but you might put Katie out of a job.
Never.
That check that we send Katie every week, we may be able to put that back in the budget.
I work for the government. Double doing stuff is fine.
We're hiring here at Hog Farmer, by the way.
Katie, if you're looking for some employment at Hog Farmer.
Katie's an OG. She'll forever be employed by us.
I know.
For the same exact salary.
I was just kidding. JK, Katie, JK. You're not going anywhere.
Scott's back to working on it.
17 grams.
17 grams. He threw it on the
you
scale.
You literally just weighed it right now. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's the kind of service you can expect at Hog Farmer. He'll go weigh it for you immediately on the spot.
Right on the scale on live.
So that's like 3 grams over a half ounce. Very light.
Very light.
The heaviest thing, once you put 3 swim baits on there, that's the soft plastics is where you get your weight from.
What do you said 3.5 inches?
Typically, yeah. Or on my bottom too, I might do like 2 4.3, or I might do 2 3.5, and in the middle I might do a 4.5.
Just something different. And what's your opinion on the different colors? I know some guys will, they'll throw one with some chartreuse or something to kind of draw that strike.
Since I put chartreuse on our website last year about this time, we've sold a bunch of them. I don't know if you know that Matt Robertson guy that on him. Okay, so he was on Kevin Baxter's podcast.
Oh no! Get out of here! You can't drop Kevin Baxter's name on here. We're gonna turn the internet off tonight. Get out of here, Baitman.
So he was on Baitman Live, and somebody asked him, they typed, "What's your A-rig secret?" And he said, "Chartreuse blades." Before the podcast was even over, I had already people messaging me wanting to buy them, straight up, and we've sold them ever since. So
this whole time, I've spent my 3 years ignoring Kevin Baxter, and now you're telling me that he's sold some baits for you.
Oh, he's got some selling power, that's for sure.
To Kevin.
Definitely to Kevin.
I was throwing Chris Payne's question up there, but it looks like he figured it out in the comments. He said, "How much is 17 grams in redneck?" But then he found a converter.
A quarter and an eighth.
Quarter and an eighth.
Tell Chris Payne to go hand draw us a logo, Jeff. He doesn't need to be on here listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Screw you.
He needs to get his art set out.
Katie's dropping the link. She even dropped Baxter's link in the dang comments. Come on, Katie.
Send him a bill for that. Charge him.
Yeah, for real.
Right now.
For everybody's dropping their favorite swim baits in there, 3.8 Kytex, Tackle HD swimmers. But you guys make some good looking stuff on the site. I've never used any of the Hog Farmer soft plastics, but now that I've had you on here and dug around a little bit before the show, I'm interested in quite a few of them, including that one Ryan mentioned, that giant bottom hopping worm.
Yeah,
That
I don't make that. I don't make that. I sell several other brands of other bait companies that aren't, really well known. Another thing you might want to check out is the wormers by Magnum Baits. I did really good with them in Mexico. It was a really fun bait to use. They come in 11.5 inches. The thing probably weighs 2 ounces by itself, but it really catches them. Even on the fall, like before it even makes it to the bottom, they snatch it and swim with it. Really, it's like a Cinco with a little bit of a reaper tail.
Okay. Red dirt kayak fishing. What is your preference in terms of line when throwing the mini rig?
I'm always fluorocarbon. I stay away from braid. I feel like braid transmits a lot of sound. I've used the Water Wolf trolling with 200 yards of line out, and literally as soon as I engage the reel and start reeling it, you can hear the braid come through the eyelets at 200 yards away. So that's just like when you were, it's like when you were a kid and you have the string and the cups with the phone, same deal. I feel like that sound is a major turnoff for the fish. However, Kevin uses braid and has 40-pound sacks. So, I mean, what am I going to – I know it works.
I use braid just because I don't want to lose an expensive A-rig. Sure. I will dive out of the boat and freeze to death to get my A-rig back if I have to.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Chris had a question for Scott. Said, are those feather blade baits yours on the site?
Yes, those are Hog Farmer for sure. Anything feather.
Okay, there you go, Chris.
And my mother ties all of those.
Really?
Really?
Yes. She's the tire.
That's awesome.
Family business. I like that.
Yep. Couldn't do it without her.
Andy, giving Ryan a second to the Upton's worm.
I tell the truth sometimes.
Always, at least a version of it.
So yeah, whether it needs to be said or not.
Yeah. So everybody's hanging in there. We appreciate you. Remember, we're doing a giveaway at the end of the show. We've had dozens of shares already, so somebody's going to walk away with a nice gift bag tonight, courtesy of Scott. It's been an enjoyable interview. We appreciate you taking the time, Scott. If you have more questions, fire them off while we have him here. He'll go weigh something else for you. He's got that scale back there.
Have any of you guys tried the 316 Rising Sun swim bait?
I have not.
It's a line through. It's basically it floats. So it forces you to fish it slow, or it'll kind of wash out and wake. And I think for you kayak guys, you would destroy it on Chickamauga with this. I mean, literally 2/3 of all my very best friends, their personal bests are on this bait right here, including mine.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
What is your personal best, king of the big bass baits?
I honestly don't know. I've had two that I know are over 10 pounds, measured them, but never had a scale. I just caught a 997 in Mexico. I was 3 100ths away from 10 there. I've went there 3 years in a row, 4 or 10, and not hit one yet. So I honestly can say I've never seen a 10-pounder on a scale that I've caught, but I know I've caught a 10-pounder, unfortunately.
I've got to get one myself. I haven't cracked 10. That's on my to-do list.
It's a great story.
Almost. I got several almost. That's how you have to live life.
You got me intrigued with this 316 swim bait, because I don't have a Chickamauga here, but it is the season here for us to fish this power plant lake that we have that has a bunch of giants in it, and swim bait fishing is a big deal. So I have to get on your site and give that an order. Give it a try.
So the top hook is going to be good for when you want to bounce it off of the bottom in maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 feet. It's got more weight in it because it is the top ride. The hook rides on top, so it has to have keel for the weight. like I said, you can fish that on the bottom. The bottom hook, you're going to be able to fish in 6 inches of water with total ease. So anywhere you've got submerged vegetation that's just under the water that you don't want to hit, this is the bait to do it with.
Wow. I have to look into that. That looks nice.
And when you catch a fish on it, like I have absolute giants on it, when they're jumping and doing whatever they want, they've got that hook pinned right in their somewhere in their mouth, and the bait's gone. They don't have the weight of the bait to throw it. So your chances of you catching that fish are extremely good.
Got a question, and again for Scott from Sean Ahi. If you say that right. If you had to, I don't know if you can see it on the screen there. If you had to pick one bait out of all you offer to have someone try anywhere in the country, what would it be?
I mean, for a good time, throw an A-rig. I mean, it's you probably couldn't. I think you could use an Alabama rig in every place in this country and catch a fish with it at some point in time. So
I saw Greg Blanchard. He posted a video not too long ago in California, out throwing the A-rig, having a pretty nice time himself. I know Josh Stewart. He throws the rig quite a bit too.
Yeah, he's a beast.
You know, and it's time that the first few tournaments of the year, it could be a player, right? I mean, the first few BOS events, it's February,
sure.
March.
For sure. Yep.
I know that
it used to be a player all the way until June, but apparently everybody has forgotten what Casey Martin did in June and July many years ago, and nobody attempts to do it anymore. But I mean, 80-degree water temperature, 30-pound sacks, it happened. I watched it.
You know, it's funny, all the Bass Pro tournaments outlawed it, the Elite Series and BBT and stuff. And it kind of trickled down to where, like, you don't even hear about the kayak guys or even the mid-level tournaments using it when it's legal as much anymore. Is it not as effective or just not as popular?
It's not as effective. Unless it's the conditions are perfect, the noise it makes when it hits the water has a lot to do with it too. Bladed rig, unbladed Alabama rigs still catch fish really well. I mean, it's just the potential for a 40-pound sack just isn't there. So nobody really throws them. But I don't know if you guys remember when the PTA fished on Douglas years ago when Shiniki Fukai won. He won on the Mega Bass Alabama rig with no blades on it, and it was blade mania at that time. I had literally 5 different groups of guys drive to Saudi Daisy from Douglas to come get A-rigs at the time, and it was won with a rig without blades, and that's because everybody's throwing them, in a clear, deep water impoundment like that. It makes perfect sense.
Let's see. I'm trying to find if we got more questions.
We wore them out. So before the tournament last year, the Hope tournament on Chick in February, we were killing them on the rig pre-fishing. I mean, it was perfect. They were smoking it. But then the flood happened, dirtied the water up, and the rig bite fell apart for me. So pretty much everything fell apart for me in that one.
Maybe the chartreuse would have helped you.
Maybe, I don't know, man. It was my spot had no current. They weren't running anything through the floodgates. I was down on the south end of the lake. I had just logs floating around everywhere with nowhere to go. It was pretty bad. I should have made a move.
One of your local guys has a question there, Ryan. Garrett Campbell, local legend.
Oh yeah.
He asked what your go-to fluoro brand and pound test for throwing the rig is.
I'm using the Seagar red label because I'm cheap, but
yes, me too.
It works just fine, man. It works just fine.
Yeah.
When I want to make sure I catch all those fish, I'm probably going to use the InvisX or something like that, like I just did in Mexico.
Hey, let me tell you something. Mark Springer on our group page, Ryan, slid a little hookup link out there about 2 weeks ago. They had that InvisX for $10-11 at Bass Pro. I loaded it up.
I saw that. They were giving it away.
I didn't believe him, but I went and got a bunch of it. That was a good deal. Any more questions for Scott or Ryan? Let me ask you this, because like I said, I don't throw the thing as much as I should. I know conditions need to be right. So what if the day is a perfect A-rig day? You know, what's that day going to look like? What kind of water? What kind of wind conditions? What are we looking at if it's a perfect day to throw that rig?
I'd say a little bit of wind, lots of clouds, almost no sun, and 42-degree water temperature.
You say 42?
Yeah.
Okay.
42 to 48.
Pick a day that's snowing on Chickamauga. That's a local pro tip. If it ever starts snowing on Chickamauga, get the boat hooked up and get out there as fast as you can.
Or when the pressure's dropping. If you can get out there when the pressure's dropping a good amount, it can make it really fun.
Looks like somebody asked what size rod to use again, but I think we answered that earlier. You know, you can get specialized rods and or just flipping stick.
I use 8-foot. I use 8-foot rods. Now I do have all custom rods now because I know better than to go out and throw them all day long. I'm also 44 years old, so I'm not going to do that to myself.
I feel that.
Andy Webb asks, do you fish any rivers with a rig, or do you use the same as you would on lakes?
I don't fish rivers. Like I go below the dam every once in a while and try to catch fish, but as soon as I drag them on the bottom, I lose them, or I catch a catfish. Below dams, river situations aren't great for A rigs for me.
Especially below Chickamauga, it's so shallow and rocky. You got to have something, preferably with nothing to hang up, to get through there.
Almost like a bottom bouncer, like wires that have nothing on them on the bottom.
There's some freaking tanks down there, though. Gosh, there's some big smallmouth and largemouth. I love fishing below Chick.
There's many 7, 8, 9, and 10 pounders swimming around.
I heard there's some that would rival a state bag big fish.
Really? I've not heard of that.
That's what I heard. Heard a local pro might have caught one on a rig and didn't want the attention cast down there.
Yeah, I don't believe that. But maybe. I mean,
I saw some pictures of it.
If you saw pictures of it, I believe it.
There's pictures out there. It was a huge fish. I don't know if it was over 13, 14, but it was a tank. It was giant. All I can go with what was claimed.
So Ryan, see this question here. You're the recent Smalley king with the TOC victory on Smalleys. Greg asked if there's a specific rig to throw for smallmouth fishing, or is it just all the same and change the bait size or what?
To me, smallmouth fishing, obviously, I think if you're throwing a rig, I probably wouldn't throw giant swim baits anyway. But smallmouth are super aggressive. Like the trick with smallmouth is get around them. If you get around a smallmouth, there's a good chance you're going to put it in the boat. I mean, they're just hateful fish. The trick with smallmouth, though, is they love that shallow water, riffles, rocks everywhere. It's hard to get a bait like that to somewhere they want to be. If you're fishing a deeper river, like a current seam or current breaks, then you can target, some deeper rocks, some boulders, that kind of stuff. I think you'd be a lot more successful throwing a rig in that setting than trying to catch them in super shallow water.
We actually make a Minnesota rig that's basically for smallmouth it's basically a 5-wire 8-blade with just one snap in the middle on the middle wire for a swim bait.
Really?
Because in Minnesota you can only have one hook. So my friends Andy Young, Josh Douglas that live on Mille Lacs will use that in the late fall and they'll absolutely destroy it.
I want to hit that spot too. We had some kayak hammers that went up there after the lacrosse tournament, and they beat up the big smallmouth. They were putting up some really, really nice fish.
Wow.
We're not going to keep Scott too much longer. If you have any more questions, to slide into the wire before we do this giveaway. Get them in there real quick. It's been a really good interview, man. We appreciate you coming on here, spreading the info with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jeff.
What do you think? You want me to spin the wheel?
Spin the wheel. But spin
Like I
it
said,
like
you got to be
AJ
watching to win.
Spin the wheel like AJ did to Shane on the TOC, the boat giveaway, where it stops on his name, then it goes to somebody else.
Oh yeah, I don't have an actual wheel. I'm just gonna have to go over here and do my little scroll and see what happens.
You need to get a wheel and have Ashley come in and spin it for you.
Whoever wins can text message me their order and we can get it out to them.
Okay, awesome.
Instead of me just sending whatever I want.
All right, drum roll, please. Here we go. You ready? Greg Muldrew, you are the winner. Are you watching, Greg?
He is. He's been in the comments all night. I guarantee he is.
There he is. I see his comments. Minnesota. I'll throw it up there. Greg, are you still watching? You are the winner of the Hog Farmer APAC. Say something in the comment we know. Otherwise, I'll go to the next guy or girl. But yeah, that's awesome. Scott, we appreciate you doing that, man.
Yeah. No problem.
Once you get your stuff, Greg, make sure you post up some pics of it, especially if you catch one. I want to see if you caught something big on it.
Post up some fish with it. That's what I want to see.
Oh, he's in there. Thank you so much. He said, confirmed winner. Greg, you are the guy. What are you fishing out of, Greg? Can't see what kind of boat that is in your profile pic. It's too small. But congratulations, sir. So, like I said, you want him to message you on Facebook or email, or what do you want to do?
Did you just say that to me?
Yeah, Facebook, email. How do you want to get a hold of you?
Yeah, Facebook's great.
Okay, so send him a Facebook message, and he will hook you up. Anything else before we get out of here, Ryan?
Nope. Next week we have a special guest coming on. Do we want to see who it is, Jeff? What do you think?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
So we got, all the changes that are happening in the tourney scene. Everybody was all up in arms about fishing chaos. So the best way that I know to clear up any rumors is just go straight to the person and bring them on here. So we have Fishing Chaos owner coming on next week. He's going to demo the software platform, tell us kind of about the background of the app and what all it does, and then let us decide, if it's worth looking at or if it's just another joke. So we'll find out next week.
Who says we're biased, Ryan?
I don't know. I'm trying to find them, man.
I don't know. Yeah, we're just out here bringing the news to the people. That's all we're doing.
That's it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, it'll be a fun. And maybe, just maybe, we'll have another big announcement next Monday if we can get some stuff done.
We might.
Just might.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Scott, and I look forward to slinging that A-rig. Me and Steve-O are going out Friday. We're going to hopefully get you some good content that you like, and hopefully get some big fish on it.
Stop by next time you're in this area.
Oh, will do, man. I'm always around.
All right. Love to have you in the shop.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Fun. You bet. Fun times. Thanks, everybody. See you next Monday.
Take care.